Senator. Our first question of the evening we will address to Speaker Tillis. And it's really the elephant in the room question. I want to begin with this, Speaker Tillis. The recent claims both you and Senator Hagan have made about missing meetings or voting sessions to attend other events. How high a priority is attending all committee meetings or all House sessions when you're an elected public servant?
I tell you, the highest priority has to be when you have the threat of ISIS, you show up for work. When you miss more than half of your committee meetings, when you sit on the Armed Services Committee and you know that ISIS is the threat that it's emerged to be, you show up for work. Senator Hagan's missed more than half of those meetings. And we found out this week, 2 days ago, just after the debate, that Senator Hagan put a cocktail fundraiser on Park Avenue ahead of a classified briefing where these threats were being discussed. You know, we can talk about missing a meeting or two. That happens because you have schedule conflicts. But what on earth could be more important than understanding the threat to our men and women in uniform and the threat that ISIS poses in the Middle East and to our own safety and security? Apparently, Senator Hagan thinks that a cocktail fundraiser hosted on Park Avenue by a Wall Street executive is a better priority than doing her job in Washington. When I go to Washington, there are certain meetings that I won't miss, and missing meetings on the Armed Services Committee is one of them.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Haugh, your answer, sir?
Oh, I do think it's vitally important to try to make as many of these meetings as possible, and not just with my fellow politicians, but with experts, with people who, we have a lot of great people who work for the federal government for us, who actually know what they're doing on policy, and I would like to be able to speak with them as well and really become as informed as possible about every single issue that's before us. But there are other parts of the job description to Senator besides simply being up on the issues and being at these meetings and having votes on the Senate floor. We're also sent there to be administrators, to run the federal government on behalf of the people, and we're also sent there to be representatives. One thing I understand is that when I'm there in Washington, I'm there to represent all North Carolinians, not just those who voted for me or those who agree with me, but every single North Carolinian should be able to call my office and get the kind of constituent services that they need from Washington, regardless of how I feel about the issues.
Thank you, sir. Senator Hagan, your answer.
You know, John, Speaker Tillis's hometown newspaper has called on him to resign because of the number of days he missed at the General Assembly because he was out fundraising. We are now talking about ISIS. These people are terrorists. They have killed Americans. Our mission should be to eradicate these terrorists. And I have I've chaired numerous counterterrorism hearings. I have talked to top generals and top military officials, and I do this constantly. We have actually taken a vote on arming and training the moderate Syrian rebels. Prior to that vote, there was an open Armed Services hearing and a closed Armed Services hearing. General Dempsey, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, was there, as was Secretary Hagel. And at the closed briefing, Tony Blinken, who's the National Security Administrator to the President, was in attendance. I am well informed on these issues, but I think Speaker Tillis has been spineless because he will not say what he would do. He is not saying whether he would arm and train the rebels or whether he would put boots on the ground.
Thank you, ma'am.
I am decisive.
Thank you, ma'am. Speaker Tillis, your response. 30 seconds.
Yeah, you know, that liberal newspaper's been wanting me to resign ever since I got sworn in as Speaker. That's nothing new. What is new is Senator Hagan's admission that she decided that a Park Avenue fundraiser was more important than a classified briefing on the threat of ISIS. She decided that more than half of the meeting, she had other more important things to do. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a big difference between missing a couple of legislative votes versus having a presence, having a table, being able to be notified about the threat of ISIS. Senator Hagan didn't show up for work, and that's why she needs to be fired.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Haugh, your response. 30 seconds, sir.
Oh, the phrase boots on the ground always kind of sends a chill up my spine, because what we're talking about here is committing ourselves to what's estimated to be another 30 years, really perpetual war in this region, and we need to have other kinds of solutions and bring other kinds of voices into Washington that are going to give us options besides just trying to bomb all of our problems out of existence, since that's obviously not working.
Thank you, sir. Senator Hagan, your response, 30 seconds.
Once again, John, people in North Carolina know that I do my homework and I am well briefed on all of these issues. Not only has Speaker Tillis' hometown newspaper called on him to resign, he did in fact miss days when important tax policy changes were voted on, and he could have had an impact. Do you know what he's done in his tax policy, though? He has given tax cuts to the wealthy, gutted our education system, done away with our film tax credits in this state, and put a sales tax on our electricity bills. I think people need to understand what his policies are.
Thank you, Senator. Mr. Haugh, the next question goes to you.